and you're going to force them to only look at the perspective that you want them to be looking at. Do it only in one time frame. Number one, you're going to build continuity, and you're going to force them to only look at the perspective that you want them to be looking at. To only look at the perspective that you want them to be looking at. To only look at the perspective that you want. To only look at the. To only look at the. To only look at the perspective that you want them to be looking at. In the driver's seat as running this signal service, you want absolute control them to be looking at. So if you're in the driver's seat as running this signal service, you want absolute control. 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 You want control of the perspective of your audience and signal service. You want absolute control. Signal service. You want absolute control. Signal service. You want absolute control. You want control of the perspective of your audience, and you want to be able to manage their expectations. And if you do that with one chart time frame, you will make your life much, much more relaxing and less of a stress than it can be or will be, absolutely, if you start giving them all different time frames. Okay, signal services are not meant to prove you're smart. You're giving them signals and setups for them to chase after in their demo account. And that brings me to, what are you going to be doing in terms of your time frame? Are you going to be teaching with a live account? Because to me, personally, you're asking for trouble with that. Don't be afraid to be a demo baller if you're doing signal services. Working with a demo account, number one, it protects you, because if you're especially in the States, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, they like to focus in on when there's a high probability scenario and really milk it. Focus in on when there's a high probability scenario and really milk it. Focus in on when there's a high probability scenario and really milk it on that idea and let them watch it. Believe and really milk it, and really milk it, and really milk it, and really milk it. Try to get in there and put your audience on that idea and let them watch it. Believe me, you do not need to show a live account. You don't need to do that. Because as soon as you do one time a promise of, here's my live results, or here's my live track record, you're on the hook for the rest of your the time of you doing a signal service.
Welcome back to a different kind of Shotgun Saturday with me, Vinny E. Minnie, while we destroy and expose the fraud and the con artists known as ICT. Folks, I've got a special one saved up here for you tonight, and I mean saved up. This, I told you guys as we started to wind up towards the end of the entire ICT fraud network saga, and we roll into the class action lawsuit next month, I told you I would be dropping the biggest bombs of the ICT fraud network. So let's get into it. Don't want to give it too much hype, but you are not going to want to miss this one. I'm going to let ICT speak for himself, folks. You can hear it from the horse's mouth. This is inside of his private mentorship, where when he always says, I never market it anywhere. I don't market. No. He abuses and uses people, and he has used the entire ICT fraud network to promote himself. He does not care about you. He does not care about traders. He cares about himself. This is a narcissist, and he is using people. And right now, you're going to hear it from his own lips, while during his private mentorship, he is teaching them to go out there, promote themselves, and inevitably promoting himself to go out there and sell signal services. And he goes in depth, folks. He's going to teach you. If you wonder why Vinny always says, ICT is the scammer of your scammers, because he is teaching you, little ones, how to scam the next guy coming up. You got the next Muppet who's going to come into the crew, and you got to teach that Muppet and have that Muppet pay you, and then that Muppet pays another Muppet. That's how the whole ICT fraud network works, and we're going to expose it here tonight. Let's do it right now.
Michael J. Huddleston, aka ICT, calling himself the inner circle trader, is a well-known con artist and fraud in the trading industry. There are very few trading scams who tell more lies than ICT. There is a well-known saying in the trading industry: how do you know when ICT is lying? When his lips are moving. Never trust anything coming from ICT. You have been warned. In this series we will be showcasing the history of this conman and revealing the fraudulent statements and outlandish lies and absurdities uttered by this fraud over the years in the trading industry. Know your history or you are doomed to repeat it. Get Wrecked Studios proudly presents Fraudulent and Stupid Things ICT Says. Enjoy.
Okay, folks, we're looking at ideas for running a signal service, and this is for informational purposes only. You got to figure out who your target market's going to be. And my advice is to avoid the youth. That means the guys that are around 20 something, because they're going to be the ones that have the least patience. They're going to be the most demanding, and they want you to make $1 million and 1,000 pips every single day, and it's not going to happen, as you know. So when we look at a target audience, what we're looking for is someone that has, number one, a little bit of years behind them, obviously, that aren't going to be so old, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful because I'm getting old myself, but you want to have someone that has a willingness to take some risk on.
So did he just say that you need to target an audience of someone who's willing to take some risk on? Let's come back to that.
The way you do that, and the way I've done it, and yes, I have a lot of young guys and young gals, that follow me, but I have a pretty good core group that's a little bit older than 30, and I think that's the target audience you want, about anywhere between 28 and about 50 years old. That's about the right target audience. Now, obviously, you're not going to get that kind of audience if you're on Facebook.
Let's take a note. 28 to 50. Not going to get them where? Yeah, pay close attention.
Or Instagram, or even Twitter. You're going to get it from, of all places, the forums. You can go to like Forex Factory, okay, and you can start a thread. And what you're going to do is you're going to present the ideas that, number one, start off right from the beginning, stating that you're going to be drawing up an interest in a signal service that you're going to be promoting, and you want to be able to do this by way of being honest from the beginning. If that's your intentions, you intend to sell setups that you find in the charts, that's fine. Go right ahead and do that if that's your your wish or whatever. But be very, very clear from the beginning, because if you're honest from the beginning, number one, it's very disarming. Folks won't be like, oh, well, I knew this was coming. You're telling them right from the beginning, okay? And second of all, you'll know right away who's trolling you and who's not going to be trolling you. And if you're going to be marketing right from the beginning, don't entertain any trolls at all. Just go about your business, do it, and who cares if they like it or don't like it, okay? You want to be completely devoid of all kinds of emotions. You don't want to be excited and elated and say, yeah, high five when you're right, and you don't want to piss and moan when you're wrong. You're doing the same thing consistently. You see a setup, you put the information out there, let them, as the audience, see it, minimum 30 days. Everyone gets to see it for free, okay? A lot of you don't want to do that. A lot of you don't want to give away freebies, okay? But I'm going to tell you, if you provide a good, consistent basis on finding setups, and you do it at least a minimum for a month, you can drum up a good core group real fast. If you're consistent and you do it for 2 months for free, you will get all the customers you'll ever need to work with. Now, if you're going to be doing a target launch for customers or an audience that builds your customer base, starting off small, not promising them a whole lot, okay, maybe 25 pips twice a week, okay, and if you do that, number one, it's not going to build high expectations, and believe me, there's a lot of folks out there that cannot find 25 pips once a month. So if you're telling them that you can see it at least 2 times a week, what you're promising is basically a 50 pip net on the week, and I think that's realistic, okay? Anything less than that isn't going to really drum up a lot of interest, and anything more than that, you're really setting the expectations really, really high, and when you can't make them every week, you're going to lose subscribers, you're going to lose and customers, and they're going to start complaining, and believe me, complaints are nerve-wracking. So, what are you going to provide in terms of your time frame? What's the setups or signals you're going to provide? Now, obviously, like we've seen people on Facebook and Instagram and on Periscope, and you know who I'm talking about. They promise the world, okay, and you're going to be able to do everything. You're going to own the world, okay. You can't do that. You can't do that with signals. You got to be consistent about what time frame, what is the setup that you're going to be aiming for, and that's your bread and butter, okay. And I'm going to suggest a few outlines to you. You know, verbally, you guys can go through the charts and see them on your own. But you need to determine what it is that you're going to do as a setup. Are you going to be a intraday trader that trades the New York session, which, in my opinion, is the easiest one to do? You can get a lot of people to follow that one. You got to get hardcore traders that want to get up at London to do that. Plus, you got to be really good at London. So if you're not as sharp on your technicals as you might hope to be, you want to try to avoid London. Let London give you all the insights about what you should be doing in New York. Okay, look at me. You know, New York. I'm pretty consistent with what New York's going to be doing. London, depending on what the market is doing and what kind of conditions we're in, you know, I could be hot on London. I could be really cold on London. But if you give me London, I got about a 65 to 70% likelihood I'm going to call the New York session pretty accurately. Now, if I'm telling you that and I'm the one that taught you, doesn't it kind of like promote the idea that if you're going to be doing a signal service, do it in New York session? You'll have more traders and more audience members to choose from and build a base up with that time frame than any other. Even though London has the big bang and the big high and the low of the day, who cares? Okay, you want to do signals and you want to generate money like that, fine, do it through New York setups. They're easiest, they're low-hanging fruit, and you have an opportunity really Monday through Friday. London, I try to avoid that on Monday, and I started on Tuesday, and you know that. So are you going to try to force a Monday setup because you have now a subscriber base? Don't do it. So if you're going to be doing a time frame set up around New York session, which in my opinion, I think that's the best way to do it. If you're going to do that, you need to determine what is the setup time frame you're going to be looking for. Are you going to be looking at a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, a 1-hour chart? I think primarily a 30-minute chart is pretty decent for a signal service because you're not going to have everyone unless you're doing a live room, which brings with it a whole different dynamic. But if you're going to be generating signals and sending it by social media like Twitter or like Telegram, you know, those types of apps, or if you have an app built for yourself where it's only subscriber based only, you can get something like that built for about $300 to $600 and have it pretty much run right from your phone. Okay, you can do a screen capture of a chart, put your lines on it or whatever, and then send it out. But whatever time frame it is that you're going to do, stay with that. Stick with it, because you don't want your audience members flipping back and forth looking at charts, because number one, they're going to be looking for things and trying to figure out what you're doing, especially if you're right. So
especially if you're right. But I mean, this whole thing just makes me want to vomit. I'm trying not to interrupt because I feel like this thing burns you yourself. I really don't have to do much commentation here. I mean, this guy, this is gross. Literally lays out the plan. He's going to go on here for about an hour describing for his private mentorship students how they can go out there. And I mean, he's got this whole thing in a PowerPoint presentation. Let's see if I can get this full screened here. Look at this. I mean, this is full screened. This is his slideshow presentation. I'm going to let the whole thing play through. But I mean, you just need to pause here. For the first part of this just makes you want to vomit from the beginning. I've told you guys from the get-go, his whole thing was to get other people to promote themselves, then promote him. It is a whole ICT fraud network. It is a network of Muppets. Anyone who is claiming ICT or smart money concepts, SMC, ICT, smart money, all of that is bullshit. Every single one of them is a scammer. He says, I'm a mentor of your mentor. He means it, folks. He planned to try to make these little mentors, which we call scammers. His real name is I Can't Trade. That's what ICT stands for. I cannot trade. This guy has never made a dime in his life in real markets. He is out here paperboying it and trying to sell signal services, and then he's telling other people to also sell signal services, that this is the way to make money. Folks, There is undeniable proof here. If you are still team ICT, look, you need to reevaluate your situation. And I feel sorry for you. I realize it's going to be hard for you to shake it. You're going to be, like disturbed and you're like, oh, how can I possibly have been wrong about this? But listen, you need to get past that moment of cognitive dissonance. Okay. Have your little tea party for yourself, call your mom, whatever you need to do, cry on a shoulder and get over it. And stop wasting your time as quickly as possible. Every single one of these, all these ones who are like, but what about Paladin? Paladin made some money. Yes, he gambled. He's a gambler, folks. He's got multiple accounts running multiple directions, and when some of them go, it's a great strategy. You want me to teach you the strategy, but it's not ICT. The strategy is run multiples. Here, I'll tell you what. Here's Paladin's whole real strategy. Okay, let me pull up let's go to screen 8 here. And how do I transition? There we go. There we go. Okay, we're gonna draw over ICT's beautiful stuff here. If it's gonna let me, is it gonna let me draw over it? No, shoot, I don't have my drawing tool going. Okay, we'll do that for another video. But folks, you need to stop believing in the dream. It's just gambling, and ICT is teaching students how to become mentors. This is not about trading. It is about mentors. Gamble. That's step one. If you want me to lay it out for you, here it is. Step one, gamble. Okay, take a gamble, make a big risk. When you hit it big, boom, immediately go on a interview tour. That's what Paladin's doing, right? He's out there. He's been on 2-3 interviews now. ICT now interviews him, which is hilarious, right? Like ICT, like he's a classless buffoon and zero class whatsoever. He's like, let me just the guy who's already been interviewed 3 times. Let me interview him again now. So he's got 4 interviews going around. And Paladin is now already step 2. After that, once you've got your interviews going, step 3. Now, make sure you got your signal service going. Actually, you might need to get the signal service ready ahead of time. So that way, as you go on the interviews, they're like, so where can we learn more about you? Here, send over to my signal service. You can come follow me because I'm using a model out of ICT. Folks, it's a con. Scammer of your scammers. That's what they do. Start your service, start charging. There you go. There it is. All right. I'm going to try to be silent. I'm going to let ICT teach you guys how to become a scammer. You can too.
Deliver your charts and your levels that you're looking to buy, where your stop and where your targets are going to be at. And you do it only in one time frame. Number one, you're going to build continuity, and you're going to force them to only look at the perspective that you want them to be looking at. So if you're in the driver's seat as running this signal service, you want absolute control. You want control of the perspective of your audience, and you want to be able to manage their expectations. And if you do that,
you want absolute control. You do not want them to be able to speak to one another. Inside of ICT's private mentorship, he used to divide them up into 4 different groups. So he could tell one group one direction, one group another. He could lean on one side or the other. So 50% of his group could always feel like they were in. And then if one of the groups bowed out, then he could circle into the other one. This is a nasty cycle. And he also gave everybody like different IDs. No one had real names. No one had real email addresses. You were FX79392. Complete control, as he said, so that no one can speak to one another and tell everybody how shit the service is. This is a con and a fraud. This is why we're bringing him to court, because I'm here to help the trading community. Let's go. Absolute control, huh? ICT, is that what it needs? Is that what you need, bro? Absolute control? Bro, you are out of control. Time to bring the hammer. Time's up.
With one chart time frame, you will make your life much, much more relaxing and less of a stress than it can be or will be, absolutely, if you start giving them all different time frames. Okay, signal services are not meant to prove you're smart. You're giving them signals and setups for them to chase after in their demo account, and that brings me
You're giving them signals for them to chase after. Wow. Oh, folks, if I heard this, I would be so mad right now. If I were you, I get it. I mean, you might need to take a pause on this video, go grab yourself a beverage or something, maybe grab your snuggle blanket for those of you guys who are in the soy boy crew with ICT. Listen, cuddle up with your little blankie. I mean, I'd be feeling really bad right about now hearing your mentor trying to teach you how to scam people. Here's how to do it. Carry on, ICT. Come on, Mikey. Tell them more.
To what are you going to be doing in terms of your time frame? Are you going to be teaching with a live account? Because to me, Personally, you're asking for trouble with that. Don't be afraid to be a demo baller if you're doing signal services. Working with a demo account, number one, it protects you, because if you're especially in the States, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, they like to come down on people that are selling services and signals, because chances are they're going to come at you trying to say that you proved that you're going to give them riches, okay? Or that you tried to sell them, the idea that they're going to get rich real quick, or they're never going to lose any money. And that's why I tell you, and I've told you from the beginning, I'm teaching with a demo account. Everything you see here is in a demo account. You don't see my cars, you don't see my houses, you don't see my boats, and you don't.
We don't see your cars, we don't see your houses, we don't see your boats. Oh, except for that one time when ICT started to go out there and start driving around your Corvette. Remember that? You were like, oh, ICT is too afraid to sell his house. And then you saw that little dump. Oh, man, that was a classic video. If you guys haven't seen that one, you might want to go check that video out. We'll redirect you that to that later. But I think it was funny. Like this is before all that, before he had done all that. We saved this one. Carry on, buddy.
See my mansions. You don't see my watches. You don't see.
Okay, mansions. So in the lawsuit, when he's going to be out there like, I never said I had a mansion. I never, bro. Yeah, you did. He used to tell everybody he lived in a mansion. He used to tell everybody that he lived in a 12,000 square foot house. Whatever. 12,000? Really? I think he might have been talking about the entire apartment complex that he was living in. So, folks, his mansion was an apartment complex that he did not own. He was living in a little tiny apartment. And I guess 12,000 square feet was probably the total of all the apartments or something. I don't know where he thought that he could get off and then tell everybody and call it a mansion. But this is how he defrauded people. He told them that he was rich. He told them that he was a successful trader. And so therefore, I'm worth listening to. That's how he ran his whole scam to begin with. And then he got all of these little Muppets to go out there and go spin the service, tell everybody about it, hype it up. You know the drill. All right, I'm just going to let him talk. Sorry, I really was going to try to just let this go. So let's let the man talk.
My shoes. Don't do any of that in your marketing. Don't do any of that in your marketing. Let your numbers and your consistency do all the work for you. Let the audience build their idea of whatever you are based on what you do in your analysis. Period. Because if you got to draw the attention of folks with rented cars,
ICT and his leases. I'm sorry, I had to break that one up. The fact that he was telling everybody that he owned all those cars, and then we pulled the MVU records from my private investigators, and they were all leases, renting these cars. Hilarious. Oh man, the con.
Going to a model home, standing around getting pictures in it like you live there. All that stuff, it just brings with it all the wrong elements. You're going to draw the wrong audience in. And also what you're doing is you're building the expectation that they're going to get that kind of stuff if they follow you. Okay, so teaching with a demo account, make it very clear from the beginning. You use a demo account and let everyone talk all the smack that they want to talk. Believe me, trust me, if there is substance to what you're doing, the audience will see it, period. I took a demo account. You've all watched me do everything in this setting on a demo account. And I made over $1 million profits. Now, it's been taxed. I don't have all that money. It's been taxed a great deal. But nonetheless.
What? Oh, my word. Sometimes I think he forgets what track he's on. He just claimed that his demo account was taxed. Bro, you can't make this shit up. And also that $1 million that he was showcasing on Twitter. Yeah, well, he was telling everyone that it was legit. He told Tom Dante it was legit. He was telling Adam Webb it was legit. He was showcasing it as though it was legit. He tried to prove that he could do a withdrawal from it, and he flubbed up. Anyhow, all right, like I said, I'm gonna let him burn himself. I'm probably gonna try not to say anything. Carry on.
It was done all around a demo account. Okay, I didn't provide a track record. I didn't go on my FX book and show you this or show you that. I basically gave everything in terms of the context of what I see in a chart, why I think it happens. When it happens, great. When it doesn't happen, next. Okay, that's how you want to do your service if you're going to be doing a signal service. Do it in a
Yeah, ignore the losers. Make sure nobody focus on them. Focus on the winners and skip over the losers. When you're right, yell about it. When you're wrong, pretend like it didn't happen. This is classic ICT, and he's teaching his Muppets to do the same.
Demo and tell them from the beginning it's for informational purposes only. This is just to highlight the likelihood of seeing consistency in setups by studying price action. Notice that I did not say you're going to make money with this. Every single one of you signed an agreement every single month that you're with me, and it says that you're not learning some secret service inside technicals. Okay, you're not getting inside information, and you cannot make money.
And yet, at the very beginning of this, you heard him say that he wants to target the folks who have money between the ages of 28 and 50 and the people that can take on risk. So he absolutely knows that he is telling people to go and take these trades and these signals, let them have the risk, and then they're not going to come after you because they've got enough money and it's not going to be too much for them to come and sue you. But, you know, look, this whole thing is planned out, schemed out. It is a scheme. It is a con. This is why I call him a con artist, because this is the art of the con, and he's spreading it this way so that he can go out there, because he ain't got any money to do advertisements. So his advertising is running it through the Muppets. He's using people and abusing people. It's a very manipulative guy. It's disgusting. Carry on.
You have to have that in your terms of use. Every single one of you signed that. It states that I teach with a demo account. There's absolutely no way you can lose money in that demo account, and you cannot ever make money with that demo account. Now,
then how are you getting taxed on it, bro? I mean, I know I can't help it. Some of this stuff is just, it's too good. It's too ripe. I have to, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to make interjections as we go along because this is just too juicy.
Everybody understands what can happen if you take the information that you do in a demo account, and if it's right in a live account, what do you get from that? Potential profits. Every one of your customers are already going to naturally think that anyway. But you cannot promote your service in a light that you're going to make them rich. You cannot promise them that you're going to be profitable. You cannot do those things. If you do, number one, the feds, CFTC, whoever your governing bodies are, wherever you live at, they're going to come knocking on your door, okay, and they're going to say, hey, buddy, look, what's the deal here? You're scamming, you're ripping people off, yada, yada, yada. And also, by doing this, it pushes away all the weak-minded people, because if they're chasing a dollar, you don't want them to be in your audience. You want them to look at the setups, okay, and follow along and let them decide if they're going to do it in their own live account. You're not ever telling them to do that. You're never going to say, fill the boat, okay, back the Brinks truck up, okay, which is ripped off from me from 15 years ago. Bottom line is you can't take the ideas and promote in the minds of your audience that they're going to get rich. You cannot do that, okay? You're just going to bring in all kinds of trouble for yourself. Not to mention, you're building way too high of expectations. Let them watch you for a month or two, okay, and let them see constant signals that pan out. If you're good, believe me, they will be beating on your email address. Please let me sign up, because there's so many people out there that are completely lost. They have no idea what's going on. They've been ripped off by other people. The people they've trusted can't show them anything. There's no substance in what they teach. They cheat them. The bottom line is they cheat them. So you don't want to be that. You can make a big name for yourself in a very short period of time by not talking about yourself. Don't promote yourself. Just say, here, just watch the setups, and keep it really boring. Okay, because what that also will do is it'll push the teeny boppers away, all the young crowd. You don't want that, because they're the first ones that's going to come at you for a charge back. They're going to ask for their money back because they heard you say you're making them $1 million when you never said that at all. Trust me when I tell you that's always the case. Okay, so
yeah, you don't want them asking for their money back. Yeah, folks, this is a scam. This is a thought out plan from end to end. This is preconceived. This is just absolutely disgusting. Gross, bro.
You need to determine what medium you're going to use. You're going to be a Twitter soldier, or you're going to be on Instagram, or you're going to have your own Telegram. room where it's membership only, whatever. You need to decide all those types of things and stick to one medium. Now here's the next big question: what are you going to charge? Because there's a lot of people out there that want to do this, but a lot of people can't afford it, and a lot of people can't afford to trade it at all. Period. So if you're expecting to charge, like for instance, I charge $150 a month. There's services that charge twice what I pay, and you don't get nowhere.
Oh, I love this line. For all the people who keep coming out to me, ICT never charged. He never charged nobody. Somebody the other day said that ICT charged only $150, period, for the whole year. No, $150 per month. Basically end up being, and then a conversion fee at the end if you want to be a charter member. So for a total of $2,300, you can become a charter member after you've been with him for a year. Ridiculous.
Near the level of what you learned from me. And I'm not doing signal services, but I guarantee you they're not getting what they should for $300 or plus a month. So you need to keep it reasonably affordable, but you also don't want it so free that people aren't they're not going to stick with it. Because if you're charging $20 a month, well, there's a reason for that. It ain't worth anything. So you want to be able to make it cost effective for you to do it, but you also have to make it affordable for as many people as you're trying to get, which
Wow, totally planned from end to end.
brings me to the next question. How big do you want this to get? They're going to tell you, for somebody that doesn't have a job, that has all the free time in the world, and I had people helping me, I could barely keep up with 830 people. I could barely breathe, okay? And I don't know what level of stress you're able to take on, but this is too much for me. So you need to figure out what you're trying to do. I mean, if you do a signal service that's $100 a month, okay, and you're consistent with it, and you get 100 people, there's nothing wrong with $10,000 a month. Don't let greed tap you on the shoulder and say, well, I need to do 5 times that or 10 times that. Trust me, it comes with a great deal of workload, and you want it real simple, real easy. And 100 people is easy to manage, real easy to manage. Even 50 is even to manage. Easy. It's wonderful, small size groups like that. You can carve out a living with just that tiny little pocket of.
And there you go. There's how you carve out your living, folks. You see a dramatic pause right here. Let that sink in what he just said. He's telling them how to make their $5,000 to $10,000 a month by basically getting a bunch of people to churn and burn, because those people are not going to stick with him forever. It's just like, oh, churn in some new people. And you notice he targeted the people. He said there are lots of people out there who are just lost, completely lost, brand new people, or they've been scammed somewhere else, which is ICT's whole intent to begin with. His ultimate goal is for you to fail with his little scammers, but they're always saying, well, I learned it from ICT. Well, what do you do if you fail on one of his Muppets? You're going to go to him, aren't you? He ultimately funnels the whole thing back to himself, and he did this for 6 years. Disgusting.
Audiences, and 50 people are easy to get. I turn at least 150 people away every single week. They all still want to sign up to the mentorship, and it's no. So just know that whenever you build your target audience number in mind, what your base audience is going to be, stick to that. Unless you can build in an infrastructure that supports it, it's just going to be a nightmare, and you can turn a really good thing into something bad. And as soon as customer service becomes an issue, it doesn't matter how good your service is in terms of your setups. Believe me, word of mouth starts spreading, and it's like cancer, and nobody's going to come near you. So when you're doing terms of use and disclaimers, you got to know what the laws are, and I keep it real simple. I promise you no profitability. I promise you that we work in a demo account, and I promise that I'm not giving you something secret, okay? And I make you all sign that, so that way there's been no promise of anything at all. The expectations are zero. You get to watch.
So he makes you sign this that you're agreeing to these things, but then he in public makes all kinds of, I've got this secret. I've got the secret enigma. I coded the markets. I've got Tobias and Parson. It's a secret. All this secret stuff. All this. I can see the markets 15 minutes before you do. Yeah, because he's using time delayed charts at some point. He's got all kinds of little tricks up his sleeve. He's using multiple accounts with multiple laptops sitting there in front of him. Sometimes he'll trade from multiple devices via phone, but it's always multiple. So cherry picking. He's going to teach all that here, folks. Just listen into the man.
Watch me talk about something that has absolutely zero value whatsoever. as the audience, you've seen what has happened on a demo account. And that demo account has made you nothing, and it's taken nothing from you. But I know, as the person that put this stuff together, I know what your minds are already thinking. Because if I can see 50 pips a week in a demo account, what happens when I put my live account to work and I start doing these setups? That's something that you arrived at on your own. I didn't tell you that. And that's why I always tell you, I will never tell you when you're going to put live money at work. You decide that. And that way you don't get to share the credit with me, and I don't get the pain, when you say it was wrong. It was completely and utterly done by you. You were the one that did that. You took the responsibility as soon as you pressed the key to get yourself into the trade. And you
get to come learn how to do nothing from me. I just regurgitate stuff that's already been written in books before and things that other people have said, but then I try to make like the most complicated thing possible. I take very simple concepts like support and resistance, and I try to make it sound mystical and magical, like he's the only person that can see it. Precision, use the word precision a lot. Precision, precise. And then when you actually see him trade, he's got the worst profit factor you've ever seen. Like, no big trades, all of it's turd. He's like, you're gonna get done in 5 ticks. I got 5 ticks. Ridiculous.
Have to remind your customers that that's what you're doing. And I already know what you're thinking. Well, nobody's gonna want to do that. They're gonna call me a demo baller. Yes, they are. And they're the ones you don't want to deal with. Because if they can see that you're consistent and you show them in a chart very vaguely, it's here, it's
very vaguely, they don't pull back the curtain, keep it mysterious, and your target audience is not the intelligent person who says, well, wait a minute, you're a demo baller. That's not your target audience to hear it. This is why I'm saying that the only people following ICT are the dumbest people on earth. They're all Muppets. But the thing is he's even telling his Muppets, like, don't target another intelligent person. Target another Muppet. There's going to be another Muppet coming in next year, another 16 to 19-year-old kid. Now he's saying right here when he's trying to sell it and make money, don't target them. But at the end now, that he's giving it away for free because he wants them to buy a book in a year from now. That's because ICT's run out. Like, he's been exposed. Nobody's buying his shit no more. And the only thing that people are like, oh, well, it's free. So he's got a bunch of 16 to 19-year-old kids who don't have any money, chasing him. But like a couple years from now, they'll get a job and they can buy a book. And he's like, oh, maybe if I can just get my numbers up to over $1 million or so, then maybe even if 10% of them buy, then I charge $50 a book, and then I can get $50 from them, and then they'll pay it for sure because they'll be so grateful to me for letting them start a signal service and whatnot. And so I get 50 times, even 100,000. That's 500,000. I can do that, and maybe I can sell 4 books. So that'll be my 200,000. Oh, get out of here, bro. You're gross.
Going to go there. It shouldn't go here, and there you go. Watch what happens. You want your analysis, if you're going to be doing analysis service, not even setups, like if you're not doing signals, you just want to talk about analysis and have people join you for your technical analysis. There's a few of you in here that want to do that. Number one, first and foremost, we have a non-disclosure agreement. That means you cannot talk about concepts, commentary, insights. You can't give reasons why this is that, nothing. And I got one guy that is doing YouTube videos, and he swears up and down he's not teaching it, but you are teaching it. You're absolutely teaching it because you're giving it in bite-sized pieces over a long period of time, and they all know you're part of my mentorship, period. And because of that, you're kind of like right on the line where you're violating the NDA. You are. And anyone that wants to do analysis or signal services, you cannot talk about the concepts you've learned here. You can't do it. You can't say, well, I learned the order block in your free tutorials and that's all I'm doing. No, because invariably you're going to be teaching them the right order blocks. Don't even bring up order blocks. Don't talk about it. Don't use my terms. Don't use any of those things. And the other thing is, do not market your stuff with ICT in the name.
Yeah, so obviously he's changed this. Back in the day, he's, now he's telling you market it and make sure you give him credit, right? And so it changed. He's shifted over the years and realized, oh, this is a great marketing tool for himself. It's actually better for them to go ahead and tell him that it's ICT stuff, so that when you fail with that Muppet, because you absolutely will, you come to him, buy his stuff, you'll fail there, but at least he's got a shot to get you twice. So first payment to those guys, second payment to him. Of course, now he's like, oh, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it for free. How are you gonna not? Whatever, dude. You're making all this money off of your YouTube channels, and you're gonna go sell some books. It doesn't matter, bro. You're a fraud. The only reason people are actually following you is because they think that you've made money in the markets. That is a fact, and you refuse to go out there and tell everyone that you've made no money. If you want to go out there and tell everybody the truth, that'd be fantastic, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna get to say it in court.
You do this all on your own. If you want to go into business with a signal service or an analysis concept stuff, if you're going to be talking about where the market's going to go, ICT has nothing to do with that. Inner Circle Trader has nothing to do with it. There's one guy out there that he's putting on his webpage that he's gone through the mentorship. He was here for a couple months and quit. And it's G'day FX. Bottom line is, I don't want people marketing their stuff with my name in it. Okay, I don't want that. I'm not supporting it. I'm not behind it. And what you're doing is you're dangling a carrot out there, like this guy saying that he's been here the whole time and he's done everything. And you can't do that. We haven't even finished the course yet. We haven't even done the complete program yet. But it's being promoted as if he's graduated from it.
I should pause this to recognize. So when was this? This is his first mentorship, folks. This is when he's first doing all this. Now it's 6 years later, and he spun off. But the whole point with this, and later on he ends up like leaking his own stuff and then trying to create hype around all this stuff on himself. The whole thing was a racket from end to end, everything carefully planned out strategically, and then teaching these kids how to go out there and ultimately market him, fail under them, go to him. Anyway, I don't want to repeat myself. Carry on.
He may have went through all the tutorials, and just like every one of you, I've done that. But don't market your service with me, because here's number one reason. Number one, I don't get any money for it, and you heard that right. I'm not getting paid for that, and I don't want to get paid for it. And here's the second reason: when it fails, I don't want anything coming back on me that I had something to do with that. And that's what I'm telling you in this right now. If I get
he wants you to take all the heat, and he only wants the meet and greet, right? Like, oh, you're a success, and then he found out over years, like, oh well, if you just churn and burn the youngest in the crowd, like they'll just spin and burn and they'll disappear, and they don't have money to go after legal suits, and they're not going to come after him and pursue him. So that's why you need a Vinny Mini coming to save the day. But yeah, he's shifted over the years to now he wants everybody to tell everybody about him and point it back to him, so that because now the only thing he can get money off of is YouTube. So that's what he's got to do. Carry on.
Asked, okay, well, you taught people to go into in the signal service business. No, I didn't. I said, if you're going to do that, don't use me as part of it, and teach people with a demo account. Show your setups in a demo account. And believe me, you're going to get laughed at by a lot of people. Tons of people every day. Oh, demo baller. Show your real results. Put it on MyFX. Put it this. Put it that. Every one of you saw past all of that, and you've learned what makes price move around. You've seen it before it happens, and you've seen when it failed. You've seen when it worked, and you've seen when you had to wait longer for the setup. That's the real world. That's why you had to be here the whole time. Signal services don't operate like that. You need to be able to fire them off consistently. How many times are you going to give a signal? It's going to be daily? That's too high, way too high. You want to have about 3 times a week, I think is fair, because that builds in the likelihood that you're going to be wrong twice, or you're going to miss something twice. But you want to focus in on when there's a high probability scenario and really milk it. Try to get in there and
really milk that one that goes good, right? I mean, ICT, he is the best at that. He is like, oh, I got one right. No, man, pat yourself on the back, and he will grandstand. Oh, look at that, got that one right. Talk so loud that you forget all the other ones that he fucked up. Oh man, and him out there, but it's like, oh, Vinny, how come he hadn't been saying much more about ICT while he's out there live streaming? Folks, you never get in the way of a man who's destroying himself. Let him completely roll himself out. But yeah, we're coming down to the end countdown now. So April's coming. Let's roll.
Put your audience on that idea and let them watch it. Believe me, you do not need to show a live account. You don't need to do that. Because as soon as you do one time a promise of, here's my live results, or here's my live track record, you're on the hook for the rest of your the time of you doing a signal service. And if your results aren't on par with the expectations of the audience, you've buried yourself. It's over. You can't do it. because everyone's going to talk about it. And like anything else, Forex has got a really bad name. There's so many scammers and so many people out there that just take people's money, and they don't even know what they're talking about. They can't find something in the chart. They can't describe what the market's going to do, and it never works out. And you see them, and they keep creating new customer these carnival-like atmospheres where they draw in a new audience or try to hold on to their audience, okay, with a new company name, but they're still selling the same.
Yep. So this is classic. We do need to talk about that here real quick. So let's talk about some names. Golden Zone Trading. You guys remember Golden Zone? Golden Zone, had an audience, but now they need to stir up a new one, so they need to come out under a new name. And you have Neuro Street, right? These guys retransition their names. You've got Day Trader Paradise. Oh, they get wrecked under a name, and then stuff. They're not getting it. Let's relaunch. We got Rocket Scooter again. Gurus. This is how they work and operate. I mean, he's right. This is exactly what they do. Shifting around, name change, yada yada. Anyway, now he's over here just pretending like he's not doing this. Well, what he's doing right now is creating an endless transition. You wonder how ICT got so big. He's created an endless transition because now the next new little startup pops up and starts talking about ICT. Another new little startup starts talking about ICT. Another little startup. It's a brilliant, clever con. It is a con. It is an art of the con. This is what he's good at. He's a con artist and very well thought out, planned out, clever, but disgusting at the same time. And yes, he's got an endless repetition of people spinning new people, and ultimately when they fail there, guess who they come to? ICT. So he gets a shot at it. They fail with ICT, and they ultimately, yes, they do come to me. I am not going to say that they don't. They absolutely come here. But there is, after you go tech and you understand like there are advantages in what you see on the chart with technology, then it's a different game. We're not sitting here, this is not a guru service. This is technology, and it's a whole different game. These guys, these little educators, re-vomiting up the next day, oh, this and that and that and this, and oh, here's my guess. No, we're not playing these guessing games. And you know what's on the chart, you know why it's there, and you see the order flow come in. It is a magical thing if you have done it. Yes, there's my promo for myself. Let me pat myself on the back for creating the world's largest futures trade room. From futures perspective, we are the largest and the number one algorithmic trading platform for the retail trader. Carry on.
Bullshit. So you don't want to be anything like that. You want to be boring. You absolutely want to be boring. And believe me, boring sells, especially in this industry. Boring sells like crazy. If you want to go over the top, you saw what it did with me. It brings in all kinds of young guys, okay, and they may blow smoke up your rear end and make you sound like the greatest thing in the world. But the rest of the people that are watching, they're like, listen, look at this. They're buying into all this hype. Now, I liked it because I was free. But it hurts me as a marketer because there's a lot of people that said, no, you went to selling and I knew that was coming. When that really wasn't the idea. But if you're going to go into this, you need to start right from the beginning saying that you are going to start as a signal service that is paid. It is going to be highlighting setups in a demo account for your protection. Make it very clear. It's protecting you and it's protecting the audience. Okay. And if they feel the inclination to take the trade in a live account, the risks are associated to them and solely on them, and the credit goes to them as well.
Always blame the victim.
And what do you have as terms of use? What are you going to operate in? What makes you the service that you're trying to sell? And where are the limitations and what are the expectations? You need to outline that very clearly. You're welcome to use my terms of use as a model. You can change everything that has anything to do with me or my company. You're welcome to do that. If you do not have the standard CFTC disclaimers, which started at the beginning of this presentation, definitely you need to have that every single time. Every single time they have to be there, absolutely there. Because if you don't, you're in violation, okay? And the CFTC can absolutely say, hey, you're screwing up. And you're making it seem like people can make money, and there has to be a disclaimer. Hypothetical results are not atypical, basically, and past performance is not indicative of future results. I just paraphrased that one paragraph that always is in red at the beginning of my videos. That stuff has to be there, and you got to tell them that you're not licensed to give trade advice. What you're doing is you're selling them your opinion about a demo account, and you got to be very, very specific, because that's what I did with you all. I sold you an opinion of what I think is going to happen in a demo account. And structure was for 12 months. So if you're going to be doing a signal service, you need to be framing it for a 30-day period. So you're selling them your opinion based on what you think is going to happen in a demo account for 30 days. And if they like what they saw, they are welcome to subscribe again. Now, that brings us to dealing with disclaimers. You have to make it very clear that if they don't pay by a specific time, you cut them off. My terms of use have been consistent from the beginning. Everyone knows they got to make their payment by the 3rd, regardless of when your automatic payment is, after it by a day or two, and it's always been that way. And I always cut you off on the 3rd, and then I reinstate your access and the whole show. You need to be very specific about when people are supposed to pay you and hold them to it. And that's the reason why you need to have a more mature audience base, because you get these young guys that are working at like retail places. They're barely making any money, and they're hoping they're going to see what you're teaching or doing or giving in setups, and they're going to be able to retire in 6 months or 30 days sometimes. But if you can be honest with them from the beginning, as you should be, provide all the disclaimers about the risks are all theirs. Okay, if they act in a live account, you're not encouraging them to do that. It's absolutely not investment advice. Okay, believe me, whether they are ready to trade or not, the audience that is in Forex right now, they all are starving to see somebody out there be able to call moves, not just once in a while, okay, but consistently be able to pull things out of a chart and say, it's right here now, but it's going to go up here next. And it shouldn't go down to this price level. And what that is it's an outline or a setup. And that's all you're going to be doing. That's the only thing I'm in agreement with. That's what I think. If you're not going to be trading your own money and you want to drum up some money to do your own trading, if you've gotten to the point where you feel consistently profitable in your demo, that demo profit track record, you need to determine how long it's going to take for you to move into live accounts. You never tell anyone in a signal service to do anything with a live account, ever. Make your specific commentaries about the level or whatever, and the idea that it's going to go up or go down. Always include it for informational purposes only, and it is not trade advice. And always refer to it as a demo trade setup. By doing that, number one, the audience knows from the beginning it's all demo. It's demonstration account only. It cannot hurt them. It can't make them any money. People that read that, they cannot be, oh, well, he told me it was a live account. Oh, he told me that it was going to make me rich. No, I have won 2 PayPal chargeback claims with folks that went 6-7 months into this. Okay, and they said, you know what, this is not as described. I'm not making any money with this. Go to your terms of use, and you'll see that you signed, and you put your initials next to it, that you understand that this is done with a demo account, that you cannot make money, and you cannot lose any money, and it's not investment advice. As soon as PayPal sees that, I won.
Wow. That's gross. So when people want their money back from ICT, he goes out there and he will fight it. This guy is disgusting. And now he's teaching them how to do the same. Absolutely disgusting.
When people say, I want my money back, this isn't as described. Number one, they knew what it was going in because you all agreed to the terms. That's why it's important. You have to have terms. If you don't do this, you're going to have all these people send you money. And it feels good, trust me, all the money piling in, okay, and you start thinking about what you're going to do with the money and what you're not going to do with the money. But then when you deliver the service, there could be as many as who knows how many that's going to just basically try to use it and abuse it.
Yeah, what happens is so you in the free section were cherry picking trades, showing them like, oh yeah, look at this, nailed all these big ones in the cherry pick. But then when you gotta actually pull back the curtain and you're having to do it in front of people, it doesn't matter if it's live or not. But when they figure out that you can't actually consistently make calls, and when you're purporting that you can, that's the problem, because you are lying. You are a fucking scammer. You are a piece of garbage. You are a fraud and a con artist, and you're sitting there guessing and you have no consistency. Well, that, in my opinion, is absolutely winnable by the person who's putting in the complaint. But if you, I don't know, who knows if he's telling the truth or not. This guy, anytime he's opening his mouth, he's basically telling a lie. So you don't even know if he actually won the PayPal cases or not. He's never going to show any proof of anything. So carry on.
Get it for free and then say it wasn't as described. So my terms of use, if you read it really careful, and I think most of you really didn't read it, you just.
And you see, there's his admission. I'll use that in court, where he's like, "I know you didn't read that. I know you didn't know what you signed. Carry on."
Signed it and said, let's get on with it. But the ones that had every interest of coming in and try to do this for free, invest for a couple months and then try to get all their money back, they quickly learned that didn't work. And I told everyone in the beginning, you need to be that bold and very direct with them in the beginning, that you are actively going to fight every chargeback. And this is the reason why you're promising them up front that it's done in a demo. You cannot make money with this stuff, okay? And you're not a licensed trade advisor. You're selling them your opinion in a demo account.
I mean, it's just gross. So gross.
Trust me when I tell you, if you do this consistently over time, traders and people watching, they're going to read between the line and they're going to make that whole transition from demo to live account in their own mind. You're not selling them that, but that's just going to be the default. That's what's going to happen. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows it, okay? So you have to be very clear in black and white terms that you know that you are operating in a demo account, and everything that you're saying is to be viewed in the context of a demo account only.
But when you're selling the expectation that you can consistently win in a demo, it's the whole point, what you lie to them about, showing them, oh, look at me, I just made $1 million in my demo account. Look at me, I just made $5.8 million in my demo account. You didn't. You are using all these little tricks, software tricks. Yeah, not happening.
Period. Insist that they understand that they cannot be profitable trading in a demo account. Period. End of story. Now, when you do get dead wood buyers, that means people that have paid and they go to they go to their credit card company or they go to PayPal if you're going to use PayPal. And let me say something real quick. In the beginning, I was upset about PayPal because I was like, man, this is a lot of work. And I had one member that actually is he's still here, and he had an issue that caused my PayPal account to lock up. And that's what tripped off all these bells and whistles, because I had so much money coming in at one time. It had to be a scammer. That's what they were saying. They said, look, why are you getting all this money? And first of all, it's none of your business why I'm getting all this money. I'm selling a service. Okay, but after time, people subscribing, and I said, look, I don't need the money. I don't need to eat tomorrow based on this money coming in. Have it locked up for a month or two. You'll see.
Oh my word. ICT is claiming that he negotiated something with PayPal. Folks, I've been through this. I know how PayPal works. I've got it. They put restrictions when you make a certain amount. I'll give an example. Around Christmas time, we get a big amount coming in. Often, we do our Black Friday special. You know the deal. That's normal. It's standard operating procedure for them. They hold the funds for a period of time. It is a month, and I think he's about to say, I haven't listened to this whole thing. I kind of stopped earlier today because it's so fucking long, but I just could not believe that, I loved and was waiting to drop this video. And I remember the whole thing of him like wanting to sell something. I totally forgot about this section. He's about to say that he negotiated with it. Listen to this guy just outright lie to everyone right here. Just make shit up on the fly. Watch it.
See that these people still sent me money. Once they realized that people were subscribing, and I was showing them the emails that people were sending saying that they agreed to the terms and they wish to continue, that's what I was supplying to them. Every single month, I sent that all to them. And then I went with Adobe Sign, which to me was the best thing in the world. It cost me $12,000 to get 1,000 signatures per month, or basically I bought a pool of 12,000 signatures. Okay, and they sold it to me for $1 per signature. And you're probably thinking that's a lot of money. Well, I guess it is if you don't have much money now. But I had a subscriber base of 830 people, so I knew that there was a likelihood that I was going to let people in November that missed it in September and October, and you saw me do that. I let the subscriber base come in, and that's why I said I had a few subscriber openings there. But some of the people that quit, when they quit, the new people that came in, it just really balanced out. So I didn't gain any new subscribers. I just filled in the gaps on the people that left. Okay.
Yeah, smart people that were like, dude, he's full of shit.
Okay, so none of those people asked for their money back. They were very mature about everything, they just left. It wasn't until like the group that came in November, that's where all the chargeback kids came in. Okay, they came in and they tried to go in 6-7 months, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, look, and I think it's probably to do with somebody in here that's probably sharing it, which I'll find out who it is if it is, and believe me, you're going to be paying for it. But you have these guys that are coming out, okay, and I've only had 7. I've had 7 attempted chargebacks out of the whole process. Now we're in the 12th month.
Nobody's believing that.
7 attempted chargebacks, and I've only given one of them their money back, and I did that on my own. I didn't lose it. I didn't lose the claim. The guy started, he came in, he downloaded everything for that particular month and said it wasn't as described, and I want my money back. And I said, you know what? That's fine. Go right ahead. He didn't sign the intent to continue, and it was mid-month. And I said, you know what? Go right. I knew this was going to probably happen anyway when I let him in, and I said, it's okay. You only got 1 month, and I'll let you go. So I gave him his month back, and that was it. So I lost really just 1 month sale. Who cares? You're gonna have some of that kind of stuff, once in a while. But you just don't want to go to a new month of service with someone, okay, and then not, number one, they have to authorize their payment. That's a big deal. Credit card companies are like, well, this is our customer, and they're threatening to close their account with us if we don't try to work this out for them. So they're saying that they didn't remember to turn off the service and they didn't access it, so we need to see, did they access it? So that's what I have a forum for. I can see every time you go in and you access that file, and even from my server I can see when the ISP address pulls the file from my server. So some of you gotten wise to some of my file names, and you've gone, and I've watched this on some of the accounts where they don't go to the forum. They just know if they just change the date, they can go right into the server and grab it. I can still see your ISP address when that happens, and I can see when you didn't go into the forum to get it. And that's why sometimes I change the file names around, and I mess with those individuals that do that. And then there's one guy in here that wants to be OCD about file names, and they all have to be there. And I told him earlier on in the mentorship that, if you want the file names to be that organized, just change them when you download it. Bottom line is I'm doing it because I'm watching when people go in through the forum to get the server, or if they're going right to the server and circumventing the entire form itself. And I watch how many people get that file. Every time I upload a file, I go and I look at a report, I run a server report, and I can see how many times it's been downloaded.
Let's remember that this guy was telling people that he's worth $75+ million, that he had made $20 million in the spoos, and he running 1,000 lots at a time. A multimillionaire, and he's nickel and diming people this way, and then telling other people how to run their service and how to make sure that you lock people in so they can't get their money out. This is gross.
And I watch and see how much there's a deviation. If it's a big ramp up, like I'm
Oh, I remember. Okay, in case I needed to clarify this, he was none of those things. All of that was fraudulent statements, fraudulent. What's the word? I thought there was another one. I'm going blank. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of this guy, honestly. But yeah, he's making all these statements that are completely fraudulent. Carry on.
Expecting this month's files to have a ton of people downloading it, because who knows how many people in here sharing and breaking the NDA. But if you have a terms of use, you make them sign it, period. Make them operate with you with one email address. If they try to use a different email address, ask them, why are you emailing me from this email address? You have to go back to that other email address. And if they're using it because the other one's no longer valid, then they have to state that it's no longer valid, and this is why I'm using this one. And they need that same email address has to be through PayPal.
I want to take a pause here for a moment. When the whole Shane Fields thing went down, and I told ICT, he claimed he knew who Shane Fields was, and that he had conversations with him back and forth, and that they were completely just about his trading service, and that the guy didn't like him, and that he had spoken vulgarities at him. I said, okay, well, that's fine. Just send that over to me. I'll send it on to the legal team. It'll be fine. All of a sudden, he starts saying, email me at this other email address. You notice the tactic? Send it to this other email, so that when he manufactures and fakes the documents, then he can turn around and say, that wasn't me. I didn't tell you that. I didn't send that. That's not my email address. And yet you hear him right here. He knows this is how the game is played. And I called him out on it. All of a sudden he's like, I don't. Oh, what emails? I had my staff delete them because it had vulgarities. My ass. This guy talks so much vulgar language, and all of a sudden he's going to say that he's sensitive to vulgarities via email when he needs that as evidence for somebody who's disputing, saying they don't want his services anymore. I'm not buying it, but I love that right here, ICT said that if somebody tries to get you to go to a different email address, use a different email address to call them out on it. Well, yes, Mikey, remember when you did that with me, trying to push me to a different email address so you could have, deniable culpability? Yeah, we're on to you, bro. I know what you did, and you're going to pay.
Now, some of the goobers that tried to leave and try to get their money back, they did this whole game where they went into PayPal, they started their account up with one email address, and then changed their email address, and then tried to say, well, I agreed and I signed the intent to continue.
Yeah, bro, they wanted out of your shit. They were like, I cannot believe I'm still paying for this. But you keep telling them that at the end of this rainbow, you were going to give them a laid out specific plan for everyone. And it was just, if you just stay till the end. And so you were coaxing people with a hard sell and then forcing them to sign this stuff. And I love that we have all this, that you were forcing them to sign all these and that they knew better. And that you were locking them in and knew all their little games because people wanted out of your shit. But you kept them paying so you could have some money. Ooh, the truth will set you free. It's gross, ICT.
But that was when I was wanting to do it. But now all these months I didn't do it and it wasn't me. Well, how about when you change your address on PayPal, they send me a notice and it says that they've changed the email. And every time someone's done that, I've always done that as a flag, and I put it to the side, and I knew, and I told Cody, I said, this guy's going to play the game. And I was right.
Cody's my boy. So Cody, he is the oldest son of ICT, knows how daddy's inner workings work, and Cody's not a big fan. Cody talked to Vinny. He talks to Vinny, and he's the one who's told me all this stuff about daddy. Notice right there, he tells Cody, his oldest son, who is doing all of his, I want to say it nicely, doing all of his paperwork. Doing daddy's paperwork. So he tells Cody, yeah, watch this one. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's cute, bro. All right, carry on.
He tried to ask for 7 of his month's payments. After signing his intent to continue, he was completely satisfied. Now he has all the information. And guess what?
Oh, and I also want to point this out while we're here, since everybody's like, oh, Vinny, you're attacking his sons, his kids. Bro, his son, Cody, is 30 years old now. His other son that we've exposed, who is also part of daddy's little fraud network over here, is 25 years old. These are men. These are not boys, and they were part of the fraud. It's why we exposed them to begin with. Obviously, I'm a family man. If it was just like, small children or something like that, that would be ridiculous. We don't mess around with, minors or anything like that. That's ridiculous. These are grown men, part of this little fraud network. That is why we exposed the truth about them so that you could make your decision at the end of the day.
He didn't get his money back. And I promised everybody that's how I was going to be. And, I'm a scammer. I'm a this and I'm a that on Twitter and online and Forex Peace Army. Whatever they want to say about me is fine. The bottom line is I was out from the beginning telling you what I was going to do, how I was going to operate, and I've operated in those parameters every single month. So that's what you have to do. And then if you do that, you won't waste your time, you won't waste your energy, and you won't waste your money on people that are deadbeat buyers that really have no interest in paying, because they look at it as, I'm just making an investment and I'll get all my money back and I'll get it for free. Not with me, they didn't. And if you do what I'm telling you, they won't do it with you either. PayPal loves me. Believe me, they love me. They are making lots of money off of me because of the transaction sizes I've put through every single month. And they also love the fact of how organized I am. I force everyone, and some of you complained about having to sign this every month, but that's the reason why I did it, because I know, as nice as some of you people are, okay, all of you.
Yeah, because PayPal's like, oh, yeah, he forces people, like, nobody can get their money back from this guy. He makes them do all this stuff. He's such a scammer. He's got them all locked in. And this is why we're suing him, because we have legal means to go around this bullshit, bro. You can't lock people in and force people to do stuff. And then, especially because you're dangling carrots in front of them and making them promises that things are going to come. And then when you don't follow through on those. And we've got people that are ready to testify about how, and again, we got the recordings too of the stuff that you used to every month, like tell them that there was something more coming. You got to get something more. And so it's like, like, well, I've already invested this time and this money into it. Now you basically know, well, if I just dangle that carrot in front of them, that, oh, don't worry, at the end, I'm going to tie all these loose ends together and you're going to have something to work with. And then at the end, they're left with nothing and they want their money back and they're going to get it.
Sound nice in the email. And I have glowing, loving emails from these 7 people that try to get all their money back. The very day that the guy canceled, he sent me a letter, an email, said, I thank you very much for everything you've done. I love all the lessons. I'm not going to end with the last month. I'm going to stop here, and I wish to have my last month's payment returned. No problem. Absolutely. Gave the refund back, and then all of a sudden I had chargebacks, always back as far as he could. And he could only go back 5 months because PayPal limits it to 6 months. Well, he had that most recent one for August payment, and he got it back, and then he could only go back 5 more months. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So PayPal will let you go back 6 months, and most credit card companies are the same. But the thing is ICT knows all these little rules, and that's how he coaxes them in. And right around the 6 month mark, he really starts roping them in to get in that final 6 months. It's just disgusting.
To his credit card company, and as soon as I forwarded it to PayPal, his signed signature and his intent to continue, and he was satisfied with what he got, and he authorized his payment. Case closed. Sided with me. Sorry for your loss. And I'm not bragging and I'm not trying to beat my chest.
Yeah, no, you are bragging about it, how you scammed some dude with out of a couple $100 who's never made a dime with you, and you're over there, wiping your butt with their paper, bro, and you're gonna give it all back.
Yes. But you have to do that. If you're going to be a merchant, if you're selling information, if you're selling a service, you absolutely have to have zero emotion, and I don't care what they feel about me. And that's how you got to be.
Well, you're good at that because you're a narcissist.
So don't talk yourself up. Don't build yourself up to this superhuman level, and people won't have these high expectations. Promise them nothing in the beginning except for constant, consistent setups. And
unfortunately for you, you promoted yourself as being the greatest. We've got recordings of you saying that you're the greatest trader, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, all over the place. Greatest, the greatest, the greatest, the greatest. No one could beat you. Blah, blah, blah. You're the most consistent. You're the most profitable. You're the most pinpoint precision accuracy. All those things you said, they are fraudulent because they are unproven, unsubstantiated, and you have never produced any track record that comes anywhere near what you claim that you can do, and everybody wants their money back.
Let them develop their own opinion about that in their own mind. The reason why you want to do 3 months, 30 days, 1 month free, or at least if you can do 2 months, that's even better, because then you got a better track record of how many times you're right and how many times you're wrong. Soon as you start the service, your very first payment, you want them to sign authorizing their payment and that they saw you do what you promised to show them the previous month when it was for free. Now, you're selling the idea to them for free, but then they end up paying for it after they see it. So that's how you want to market it. Say, look, I'm going to give you the information for free first, so you guys can make an assumption on your own, come to the conclusion whether or not there's any value to this. If you want to continue, it won't be shown publicly anymore. But if you want to continue, this is how you do it. You have to, either pay by PayPal. And some of you guys will say, oh, I don't like PayPal. Let me tell you something. I didn't like PayPal in the beginning, but I love it because they do all the currency conversions. I got people all around the world. I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have anything to worry about. They charge a little bit much for it, but guess what? They're doing a lot of work. And if you're organized on your end, believe me, all I got to do is call them up and say, hey, look, I got an issue with this buyer. Can you take a look at the files I just sent? Yep, done, handled it. And they cancel the charge right back, and it goes back to me, and they lose the case that quick. As long as you're organized and you're consistent, and if you have terms of use, you operate in them. Don't deviate. Don't make secondary conditions for people that you like. Okay, I have shown no partiality whatsoever in this, and you have to do the same thing. If you're charging people, you have to be consistent about it. You're a merchant now. Okay, so you have to be responsible. So what can you do using the setups? What can you have as your analysis, and what can you do for your setups in terms of sharing it? Well, when you have your charts, or if you're doing analysis, number one, you got to keep it bland. All your commentary has got to be boring, bland, no descriptive ICT terms, no insights from institutional standpoint. So if you have any charts, you can't be descriptive about it. You can't use any commentary. And here's the thing, don't even bring up free tutorial stuff. Don't even do it, because what you're doing is you're marketing my stuff. Don't do it. Just provide a suggested entry price, no details as to why. Suggest the protective stop level with no details as why. and suggest a profit target in your demo, and with no details as to why. Before, during, and post-trade, win or lose, okay, you're going to provide no commentary or outline as to why the trade was taken or why it failed or panned out profitably. You want to keep your charts simple, no insights required. Now, I know some of you are thinking, nobody's going to subscribe to that. Wrong. Wrong. It's all going to happen between the audience members' ears. This is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this. This is all ICT stuff in this chart here. Fair value gap closed, fill in this area here. I think the price is going to go down here and fill in this little area, and then it's going to go up here, and it's going to go to order block here, and then it's going to expand up to this bearish order block, or it's going to take out this level of stops. You're teaching my stuff. That's not what you signed not to do that, period. Okay? This is what you can do. This is acceptable. I don't have a problem with this, and you'll never hear me complain about it. If you think that the Australian dollar is going to go up and this is your setup that you're providing them, okay, this is permissible. The market must trade to 78.95 or higher prior. Then buy is triggered at 78.90 at market or at 78.95 on a buy limit. You're highlighting the price level, where the protected stop loss should be, and where you're aiming for price to go to. Once the trade's done, you're welcome to share it in this light. This is what a post-trade idea or setup would look like. There's nothing telling anybody about why it was taken. It's ambiguous. It's completely disarming. No one, unless they go through all the ICT stuff and or if they're part of the mentorship, won't understand why this is the case. It's boring, and it's absolutely boring for a reason, because number one, in your mind, see, you're thinking because you have the added benefit of knowing what leads this market to go to that level, and all the PD arrays and all the institutional order flow and all the ideas that lend well to why the price should go up like that. So you have a perspective that's skewed on the side of, well, I know what I know, and the audience, they're going to feel cheated and they need to know more. No, they don't. Because I went years on baby pips doing the same optimal trade entry fib retracement, and believe me, they were eating it up like candy. Okay, and I was
optimal trade entry fib retracement, which is all it is, acting as though he is the guy who created the 618 with the 50% pullback, which is what this is right here, which I wish I had my tool. Let me see if I can start my drawing tool here. It's gonna let me draw. Here we go. Yeah, this. They come up, we come down, and we get our 50 and the 618. We enter and we go up. This is Fibonacci. And ICT tried to take credit for it, but he's like, "Hey, it worked like a charm. There's so many stupid people out there. I tell you guys, listen, guys. Yeah, see, there are people here. They will just pay you. I mean, they will. Just trust me. Just don't tell them how it works. Okay, make it mysterious. Anyway, whatever.
Doing anything new. It wasn't until I got into tutorials and teaching things that then it went like wildfire. Everybody was talking about ICT stuff. But you can't do that with your analysis, and you can't do that with your signal services. They have to be bland. Now, let me tell you the reason why you should not worry about that being a hamper on you being able to get customers or people following you. If you've ever seen a magician, okay, and some of the things I do in my presentation, whether you realize it or not, it's magic. Some of it's smoke and mirrors. Some of it's misdirection. A lot of it is showmanship. So you need to understand that if you're showing something with consistency, some of it's smoke and mirrors, some of it's misdirection, a lot of it is showmanship. Some of it's smoke and mirrors, some of it's misdirection, a lot of it is showmanship. So you need to understand that if you're and some of the things I do in my presentation, whether you realize it or not, it's magic. Some of it's smoke and mirrors, some of it's misdirection, a lot of it is showmanship. So you need to understand.
Well, we're going to get that clip right there over and over again. So that is about 45 minutes into this presentation. He is literally telling everyone, sleight of hand, it's magic, it's fake, and it's about showmanship. Keep the audience engaged so that they will believe in your bullshit or hope that they can achieve what you've just shown. Bullshit. You use two different laptops, you swap them, You swap the account, boom. Oh, nope, see? Called it, nailed it. See, I had it right here. Had it drawn right here. See, told you. Oh, the other one, the other side was the other way, remember? Oh, yeah, you forgot. Oh, I forgot about that. You didn't know how to use 2 laptops and 2 accounts. Oh, it's pretty simple.
And that if you're showing
Cherry picking
something with
101.
consistency over a long period of time, and a long period of time in this case is 2 months, but minimum at least 30 days, give them access to you being able to call what the market should do. If you do that, you will have a group or a core audience that will come to expect the same thing over and over again. Believe me when I tell you, they want continuity, they want consistency, and they want the same thing. They'll tell you otherwise, but they really want it. So if you show them very minimal things to worry about and focus on, number one, they're not going to be distracted by other things. They're not going to chase other services because they're going to grow into a rhythm with you, providing the simple thing as this is where the buy should occur, where your stop should go. In other words, the price should not go down that low, and it's going to go up to that level. So you got a target, an entry, and a protective stop. That's it. You're not providing them reasons why it worked and reasons why it didn't work. You're just providing setups. In the mind of the viewers, if you're consistent about it, they are going to, by default, start daydreaming about if they could do this with live money, then they're going to act on it. You don't want to ever entice that. But human nature being what it is, you know that's what's going to happen. Everyone knows that. Okay. But you're not marketing that. You're not telling people that that's what they should be doing. You're constantly always referring to the fact that in the upper left-hand corner, that's a demo account. Okay. So that way, if anybody ever puts claims in against you or reports you to some kind of a governing body, you can gladly say, I will see you when I see you, because there's nothing that I've done that's illegal, and I did not entice anybody into thinking they're going to get rich. And this has all been demo account only. And they knew from the beginning, they signed with the understanding in the beginning, and they authorized their payment, and they wish to continue every single month they were part of it. And if they go crazy and they start thinking they are going to get rich in one setup, and they over leverage their account and they burn out on one setup, that's not your responsibility. That's their responsibility. But believe me, their pain is going to be so bad, they're going to be wanting to exact some kind of revenge. And when you ask people to pay you money, the first thing they want to do is go after the people that they paid. And that's why you signed every single month that you got what you asked for. It was delivered as promised, and you authorized and wish to continue the next payment. That's how you have to operate. Now, do you need Adobe Sign to do it? I think that it would be in your best interest to do so. And that's the reason why I think doing it for free for 2 months, figure out what your core group is, and then build in about $5 of administrative costs for the Adobe. Okay, I got $1 because I had up to 1,000 transactions a month. They're probably going to be a little bit more expensive for you, but if you expect to have, I don't know, maybe 100 people or whatever, I know what you're thinking. Oh man, I got to pay $500 a month. Yeah, it's a write-off. Bottom line is that $500 that you're spending, okay, every single month. If you have 100 people paying you $100, that $500 allows you to keep the $9,500 with no worries. You can go to sleep at night knowing that once they sign that, it's over. They can't come back 3 months, a day later, 16 seconds later, a year later, and say they want their money back. That's what you need to be worrying about as a merchant. So there's a paradigm shift from being a free person and giving out candy all your life, okay, and then going and saying, okay, now pay me for my time. Believe me, regardless of how good it is, you're going to have somebody that says you are not worth that money, give it back. But they already got what you gave away, or sold in this case, and you don't want people abusing that. And use me as a model, because I'm telling you, I've only had 7 chargebacks, and I've only given back money to one guy. One.
You're gross, bro.
That's it.
You're gross.
My chargeback ratio to my sales is so minuscule, it's unbelievable. And PayPal says it all the time when we talk. They're like, this is incredible, and you have a really good customer satisfaction and retention.
No,
Well,
you're
it's
full of
because
shit,
that
is
you
what
guys
you
are being marched through this process that's very, very strict. And some of you are very nice about it when I cut off your service, but the bottom line is, that that's what I'm going to do. And when you get what you need to get done, either signing something or making the payment, everything gets restored. And when you go right back into it again, you have to do those types of things if you're going to have people sending you money, period. So whether your analysis
Yeah, and then when
concept,
he traps you in like that, then then you can go with after them in a civil lawsuit. We're in the United States, and he's in the United States, and he is subject to civil law and jury of her peers, and we'll let the peers decide. When ICC is out there making all these promises and who he is and what he is and whatnot, people think that they're buying who this person is. They think that they're buying somebody who knows what they're doing, who has done this before. This is what he promoted himself to be, and then all of a sudden he makes you sign all the stuff that says it's not. Though it ain't gonna fly in court, bro. You can try to make that argument all day long, but the people in the end decide, and that's yeah. You can try to bring your little signatures to court, bro.
service, or if you're going to be doing signal services, you cannot include ICT. You cannot use descriptive terms about institutions. You cannot use my lingo. You cannot market that you've been through my.
Now, of course, you're looking years later. This was in his first mentorship. Now, when he's getting desperate, he's at the point where he's sold as much as he can, and everybody knows it's bullshit. Who's got a brain? Now he's like, oh, now I got all I'm left with is the dummies, the super muppets, the noobs of noobs, 16, 19-year-old kids, top end 21, and the 21-year-olds are selling it down to the 16-year-olds now. And then he's like, oh, but you can buy my book at the end. It's all turd. Yeah, so now he's telling you to promote it all over the place and make sure you give me credit, right? We've got videos of him now saying, make sure you give me credit. Make sure you put my stuff and my logo and my stuff on it now because you want them. Because look, he knows he figured it out. Ultimately, now they fail and they want him to come to him, right? And now he's got a book for him and he's got YouTube videos so that you'll monotonously listen to hours and hours of him droning on and on about garbage. So he gets paid a lot via his YouTube channels because nobody has longer videos than he does. Nobody, because he just goes on and on and on talking about his personal life and does a lot of, you heard him right there, showmanship, magic, sleight of hand, swap it out real quick, show him a fake trades. It's all bullshit.
My program, that's why I'm not giving out diplomas. When we're done, I will absolutely be doing it on YouTube, saying that if anybody is selling the idea that they've gone through my mentorship and they're going to teach or do signal services because of that, I'm going to welcome them to ask me by email if you are a member. Now, that's the only way I will violate the privacy, because I'm telling you, as part of the terms, right now, you cannot use me as a marketing tactic. You can't do it. Number one, because I don't want any part of a scam if it becomes described as one. I don't want to be part of the success or the horror story that creates, as a result of that. And I don't want you using my stuff. So if you do any of these things to do an analysis where you think the market's going to go higher or lower, let me go back to that too, because I think the signal side of it is pretty explained. The aspect of doing analysis. If you're doing videos on YouTube, okay, or if you're going to be doing a signal service, or not signal service, if you're going to be doing a service, like if you create your own forum, okay, and people can come in and watch you do in charts outline certain things, okay. Again, you cannot use ICT stuff there, okay. The best way to do it is draw a horizontal line across the entire chart and say, this is a good buy level, and protective stop, draw a horizontal line across the entire chart. That way you're not drawing any specific notation to a level that I've taught as a PD array, and do that as an example for the targets as well. It's boring. And I know the guy that's doing YouTube right now thinks that he has to talk a lot, and you don't. You don't need to do that, okay? Because everybody knows that you're part of the mentorship now. They all know you. They're following you on Twitter because they're hoping you're going to drop crumbs, and you are. And you need to stop doing that. So stop doing that. Don't even bring up ICT stuff at all. Not even the tutorial stuff. Nothing. Okay? I'm not selling a mentorship later on. I'm not, because believe me, it would help.
Remember what he said? Not selling it. He would always say, this is the last year I'm doing this. I'm only doing this one time. And he said that every single year for 6 years. Lies, and more lies.
If the folks were on YouTube and they start doing what I do, and they start doing YouTube videos and they see ICT, believe me, if I open up the mentorship, they're not going to go with you. They're going to go with me. And I'm not doing this all again. So I'm not trying to keep.
And I'm not going to do this all again. This was 2017, bro. Get out of here, bro. It's 6 more years of that bullshit.
You from making money, and I'm going to get all the money because I'm doing it all myself. I don't want you teaching my shit. Okay, it's simple as that. Don't do it. Don't talk about it in your videos. Don't talk about it in your service. Don't put it on your charts. It's that simple. You can talk about the market going from one level to the next, and yes, it's going to feel weird because you're so ingrained in learning how to talk about the market because we created a language with one another. But that can't happen in your services. It's simple. If you think it's going to go up from a specific level, call it support. If you think it's going to go down from a specific level, call it resistance. Let everybody think that's all you're doing is support and resistance. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's an accepted principle in trading, but nobody does it right.
Exactly. But there's nothing
Now
special
you know
about
how to
yours,
find
bro.
real support and resistance. Okay, so they're going to be impressed. This is what I'm talking about when I mentioned the magic or magician earlier. They're going to say, this guy knows the right levels. He knows the real support and resistance levels. And that's all I ever did. On America Online, I created an air of mystery around me, okay, because I was able to do something nobody else was consistently able to do. And I did it day in and day out.
Liar.
Now, granted, it was all luck because the market was going up and I was a good buyer.
Isn't it convenient that you always like you tell everybody that you did something in a service that you can no longer go back and prove, right? You can't go back and go to AOL because they're out of business. You know, it's funny. I saw a guy, they just said the best way to do a resume these days, since the people at Twitter, like there's no more human resources department, nobody knows there. They're like, just tell everyone that you're a former Twitter employee, and like there's no employment verification because nobody's there to do it. So right now you can get a job because I go out there and be like, yeah, I was the Twitter marketing whatever. Oh well, who are you gonna how are you gonna refute that? So go after the place that you know nobody's gonna check. Well, isn't that convenient? Oh, AOL deleted. Oh, you try to refer back to his old Twitter, deleted. Oh, the other Twitter, deleted. Oh, his Instagram when he had, oh, deleted. You know, this is how this guy operates, so that you cannot go into history, which is why I, Vinny Mini, the market historian, am here to make sure that the history is no longer a mystery behind this ICT fraud, and that people can, at least those who have a brain, can do a quick search for, is ICT a scam, and they'll find out the truth about this con. Carry on.
But long and short, now I can work both sides of the marketplace. And if you keep it very simple, the absence.
And now I can work both sides of the marketplace. I can split my group in half, and on this side I can tell everyone one direction, this side I can tell the other, and I keep them all separated, and nobody knows the better, but half of them know it's right, and I always leave myself an out in case that I stop and I was wrong here. But the other group would be like, see, you guys saw me, right? You saw me. I did it in the cloud, in front of in front of a cloud of witnesses. Right.
Of detail, the curiosity factor is going to drive them crazy.
The curiosity factor is going to drive them crazy. Keep it mysterious. Keep their curiosity piqued, so they'll keep paying you.
It becomes very sticky. Okay, online and on social media, you want to create an air of stickiness. Okay, you want people to keep coming back to you and holding on to whatever you say on bated breath.
You hear that? Do you hear the plan? You guys think that it just happens? No, it's planned out by this con.
And if you do that through a signal service, I'm telling you, your subscriber base will be everything you want it to be, plus more than you want. It's just, that's the way it's going to be. And you need to know that going in, because you don't have to have 1,000 subscribers to do very, very well. Some of you are going to realize how you could literally carve out a niche and never trade live money ever, knowing what you know right now. Never have any risk. That's the position you've been placed in right now.
Because there are so many dreamers who are going to come after you that will believe, as long as you show them a little bit, fake them out, fake them for a month, and then lock them in, get paid.
You have the ability to start a signal service or start an analysis service where you think the market's going to go up or down based on these levels, period. No descriptive terms whatsoever. And you want to drive people crazy, do that. And they're going to be like, why? This is crazy. How is this guy able to do this? Or how's this lady able to be so accurate about it? And that gives people to talk about you. Word of mouth is how you're going to make most of your clientele build up. I didn't advertise. I've never advertised, ever.
No, he lied big, and he went in front of big audiences. He would go out there and attack Tom Dante, or attack an Adam Webb, or attack a Astro Effects, or attack some group that was doing the marketing, go out there, grandstand in front of them, act like an idiot, like a complete fucking clown, tell everyone that he was the greatest in the world, go out there and fake demo, use MetaTrader 4. He was definitely using the MetaTrader 4 hacks back then. Don't give me this crap that he didn't do it. He absolutely did it. That's what but he's very good at his con to switch around, be like, as soon as I heard that was happening. No, as soon as he got caught, he's like, I better get away from that real quick. He is at least smart enough to be like, I gotta run away. It's okay, I can go over here to TradingView and I can run it on I'll do it on 2 laptops. It'll be fine. Plus, I've already shown people I can do $5.8 million from a $5,000 account in 3 months or less. They still believe that. They're so stupid. Yeah, it's all planned out, folks. Be careful. Stay away from this fraud named ICT.
I just put one post on baby pips and I became an overnight sensation because I did one post, period. And it was basically talking truth. And that's what you want to do. You want to be honest right from the beginning and stay honest the whole way. People say I lied this and lied that. I didn't lie about anything.
Oh my God. I've never lied about anything. Is this ICT? This guy lies every other breath. Oh man, that's some funny shit, bro. Carry on.
It's in the perception of the audience. So you have to give them everything that they need, keep the things that they don't need away from them, and work in very, very bland, non-descriptive charts and bland, non-descriptive analysis. It's going to bounce or go up from this level. It shouldn't go down to this level, and it's going to go up to that level. You do that for 30 days, and you watch how many people go crazy. Wow, this is crazy. Because the fact that you're not teaching anything, what does it imply? You have something secret. You're not teaching something secret. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to figure it out. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's one guy, he's on Twitter. He left. He said it was a good service, but he figures he could have figured it out if he was in here long enough. Dustin, you're wrong. You're wrong. With all due respect, you're wrong. You never would have figured this stuff out had it not been shown to you. Period. Because I know beyond a shadow of doubt that nobody else out there does this, and I'm proof.
Support and resistance, Fibonacci levels, these order blocks that he's talking about are RBIs according to places that I've been in. So RBI, red bar ignored, or GBI, green bar ignored. These, and then he calls them order blocks, which is funny because an order block is an actual thing. You can literally go into the code of NinjaTrader, and it's not. An order block is an actual size order coming through on a tape, and he just misuses words. And then PD arrays are SMLK timing lines that I have that are literally Dow theory and Fibonacci time sequence extensions into time based on structures prior, and his PD arrays are turd to begin with, but these are all things that have already been done before. It's just full. He's just full of shit, man. Total a fucking fraud. But he just says whatever he wants to say. It's all about showmanship and making people believe, and that is called fraud. Especially, and why is it fraud specifically? It's because when you're then asking for finances from someone based on fraudulent statements that you made, you lied, you deceived, made people believe something that was not true in order to get their wallets. That's what you did. You're a fraud.
Everyone else has done it. Now you all have been equipped with it. So if you don't talk about what you're doing as to what causes that level to be a buy or a sell, and the target being what it is and the stop being what it is, the absence of your commentary about it will drive people crazy. And everybody likes a good mystery. Something about this, it's eating at me. I want to know how he or she knows how to do this. They're going to expect it to be Elliott wave, supply and demand. Who knows what else they're going to try to attribute it to. And it's going to be none of it.
What? You don't think they can figure out a Fibonacci pullback? And then pointing to levels that are double tops, double bottoms, pivot points. that volume is behind pivots. Nobody's ever thought that before. You lying Muppet.
They're always going to be guessing wrong. And it's going to propel them to continuously follow you. Morbid curiosity is going to cause people to pay.
I hate to remind everyone that the market's 50-50. Like, you could roulette wheel just as well. Yeah, 50-50, folks. It's up or down. Everybody says, well, oh, it could be sideways. No, it's up or down.
The first month subscription, if you've been accurate for 1 to 2 months.
All you have to do is have a little accuracy. You have to be lucky. So wait until, you just go, oh, I had a good month. Okay, boom, tell everybody about it, man. This last month, I actually killed it. Look at my trades. I did a good job. But again, 90 days. 90 days, folks, because here's the stats. The 90-90-90 rule. 90% of traders lose 90% of their money in 90 days or less. Folks, stop believing this stuff when people are trading for 1 month. It's bullshit. But ICT is telling you to do it. Why? Because he's a fraud. And he knows they're not profitable. They're just 50-50 guessers. And when they get it right, they pat themselves on the back for it. When they're wrong, ignore it. Just like he said at the very beginning.
Now think about it. Some of you need some scratch to get started. You invested most of your money just to go through this course.
You invested most of your money yes, he went after people that could people scraped together. The people that I've talked to, they scraped together every penny they could, and they didn't just come over here so that they could be taught this bullshit smoke, bro. Everybody knows they came here because they thought that you had something special. You made them believe you had something special and exciting, and that there was something different about your trading style that they could make money with. Nobody came over there and paid you money thinking they were not going to get a return. They did not come over there for entertainment. You are not entertaining. You're full of shit.
And there's no shame in that. You got started with $2,600 on a credit card. And believe me, I'm as modest as it got. So if you know that there is substance to what you've learned, and if you build your audience up, maybe it's 3 months that you want to do it for free. Invest your time. Do it. Because I'm telling you, if you build an audience, you get 500 people in here.
I told you guys, even now, you see these Muppets. Well, this guy's teaching for free. This guy's teaching for free. Yes, this is just like a drug dealer. Why is this hard for you to understand? Drug dealers give the drugs away for free first, get you hooked on it, or make you believe there's something there. It's magical. And it ultimately, when it comes to the case of a drug dealer, it's poison for your body. It will hurt you. Same thing with ICT and this mess. Like, oh, keep it mystery now. And then promise them that you're going to show it inside of a private mentorship. Get them locked in, make some money from them. Because you sure can't make any money trading. None of you can. None of you do. ICT, you're through. We're almost done.
That's good grief. That's $50,000 in 1 month of transactions that's going to come to you. That's it. That's what you started with. It was a demo account, remember? Everybody had a $50,000 demo account. But you need to start with building the clientele base and expect half of them to say no when the dollar signs come up and say, okay, it's time to pay. Just expect half of them to say, okay, it's been interesting, but I'm not going to pay for this. Because they're going to feel like you're going to be goaded in and guilted into saying, I'll go back to doing free. Like your time is no value.
All right. Be honest, be organized, be professional, protect yourselves. Oh, man, just disgusting. All right. My little guy says it's time to go. Hopefully you guys got something from it. Warn someone. Folks, sharing is caring. Warn someone else. Tell them about the ICT fraud network. Tell them how the scam works. Don't be deceived. Catch you in the next one. See ya.